Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you. Hello there, welcome to 15 minutes of genius, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes. We go all over the place and I love it. So this is episode 26. I am Alex Baer. I'm the CEO and founder of Genius Juice. And we are bringing on amazing people on this show, whether it's investors, entrepreneurs in food and bev and CPG. But today we have someone incredibly special, near and dear to our hearts. We've never had a corporate buyer from a major national retailer, and I'll get into that in just a second. But before I do, a big plug for Mark Nicholas, Mark N at ManhattanBeachStudios.net. This is our properly social distance studio here in Manhattan Beach. James Cameron is somewhere around the corner filming Avatar, so this is an amazing place to be. All right, so let me get right into it. And again, really incredibly humbled and honored to have her on our show. Monika Coyle. She is the local purchasing coordinator for Whole Foods Market, Southern Pacific region. Little intro. Like so many people in the food industry, Monika's professional career started in finance in the derivative space. After taking a few evening culinary classes in Chicago, Monika's passion for food erupted. And 2 years later, after finishing culinary school, she decided to jump from finance to food. Fast forward 13 years, Monika oversees purchasing of local products, such as Genius Juice, for the Southern Pacific region of Whole Foods. Working across many categories in 4 states, California, Hawaii, Nevada, Arizona, Monika has the front seat to some of the most interesting founder stories, innovative products, and quickly changing landscape of natural foods retail. Monika, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on, Alex. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. And I was commenting on your amazing pink sweater. It's wintry, it's a poppy color, and it's the color of coconut water, which I love. So awesome stuff.
Yep. Coconut water and keeping it bright, 2020.
Hell yeah. All right. So thank you again for joining us. I mean, this is huge for us. So there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs watching, I'm sure, that either are in Whole Foods or working to get into Whole Foods. But before going into that, tell us a little more about, you talked about a little bit when I did the intro, your story of how you got involved with Whole Foods, why you selected them, when you went into CPG, what attracted you to working with Whole Foods?
Yeah, I think you did a great job summarizing sort of my backstory, finance into food. So many founders, including some of the ones that have already been on your show, kind of started in finance and ended in food or are in food. And it really, started when I was working in derivative trading and essentially loved my job, but didn't feel fully fulfilled and just wanted to learn a little bit more about cooking and entertaining. Always loved sharing great food, with other people and wanted to really have my chops, like really wanted to know how to make a bechamel and how to, cook proteins properly. And so I took a couple cooking classes and fast forward, from one class to 5 nights a week, I was in culinary school and, just something inside me was like, this is the space for you. This is right. So I, at the time was thinking about moving to Austin, to work for Whole Foods. I just really admired the company, really admired the foundation, the core values, and just really every time I walked into a Whole Foods, outside of spending a lot of money, I would
Right.
always discover really amazing products and then get educated by the team members. And I wanted to be a part of that culture. I felt like my finance background plus my culinary training would really be a good fit.
Definitely, definitely. And I love how, especially because we're based in Southern California, that Whole Foods has a program for local, which is awesome. And,
Hmm.
Mark will pull up some quick pictures of all the local signs and everything that are in the stores, which is really awesome, having the state of California, a picture of the founder or the owner. So let's get into the local program, because you're big on this. You seem to be, you're like one of the coolest buyers because you give time to all these entrepreneurs that are pitching you and wanting to get into Whole Foods. So tell us more about the local program. What are you really looking for in products and local companies? And just tell us more about the program.
Yeah, so I feel really honored to sort of be in the seat that I'm in at Whole Foods. Not only do I love the company that I work for, I really feel like we, for many years, have been a pioneer for not only quality natural foods, but innovation and really doing right by our customers, having transparency and offering sort of better for you options. And so um, at Whole Foods Market, I, like you mentioned, oversee the local program, which basically is anything that's produced, manufactured, raised, or grown in one of our metro areas. So in the Southern Pacific region, it's the states you mentioned. And I'm super fortunate because when I moved here from Chicago 13 years ago, there was a little bit of a food scene, but it wasn't what it is now, especially on the CPG side. And there's so many founders that are kind of gravitating towards the West Coast because we kind of know the East Coast, West Coast, a lot of innovation and early adoption happens. So when brilliant founders as yourself have a great idea, they tend to kind of gravitate towards the coast and try and test it out in these markets. So yeah, I have a really small but mighty team. I have a couple associates under me and then a really amazing assistant that kind of make things happen. We deal with over 1,400. We're getting close to 15 right now, local brands,
Wow.
and that's across all of the stores. So from produce to seafood to ice cream to bulk, you name it, we kind of touch it. And it's a wild ride because we've learned a lot. You don't go to culinary school to learn how to help CPG brands, but I got to say, I learn a lot from the entrepreneurs I work with, and that's one of the things you said. What do I look for, or what do we look for? The foundational thing, it's really not that I'm looking for innovation or something trendy. I say this like often too. We It's the people behind the brand. Anyone can make a soda, anyone can make an ice cream or a potato chip, but it's the people behind the brand and their willingness to become partners with Whole Foods and just any retail partners essentially, and willing to work together through some of the kinks or maybe opportunities that kind of might be in front of them.
Yeah, and very, really, really well said. And really, yeah, the story is so powerful and so important. And by having those local signs, it really tells more of the story behind the entrepreneur when a consumer is walking by. And a consumer is also more likely to buy that brand in in a Southern California store because they know they're supporting local. And I just have to give like big props and really commend you on like you're one of the most accessible buyers that I've ever worked with. Like if I have a question about a trend or a product or what your opinions are on it, you answer your emails, you set up phone calls, and when you have 15 almost 1500 brands that you are working with, to have that level of bandwidth to pay attention to these brands that are approaching you, that's not easy, and it takes a lot of energy, and you have to love what you do, which you do. So it really shines through. I want to show you
Well, I
something.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw this back at you though, because
sure.
when we first started talking, I really respect respectful persistence, and you were always very respectful of my time and persistent and very, some people say aggressive. You're definitely not aggressive, but you're very persistent, and that chutzpah or whatever that is in
Hmm.
entrepreneurs is really what sets them apart. And so you're a perfect example of brands that I love working with and giving time because I know when we talk about something and when we say, hey, we need to modify something or this won't work or whatever, we need to tweak something, you're going to take that back, you're going to think about it, and then you'll come back and say, okay, yes or no. And it really is a partnership. I don't know, to be honest, any other retailers outside of Whole Foods Market that has like a program like this where we have foragers across the regions
Hmm.
working with up and coming brands. And even, we work with brands like GT's, kombuchas local to us, and we'll work with them on innovation outside of sort of global launches. Like we did their Koyo kefir and
Hmm.
their yogurt, their coconut yogurt, exclusively in our region for a few months. And so, yeah, I feel privileged to be able to do this. So.
Yeah, totally, totally. And there's there's like so many amazing brands that started right in this epicenter of Los Angeles that you get to work with, and GT is just one of many examples. But I want to show you, and by the way,
Mm-hmm.
thank you again for I really there's a balancing act, right? When contacting a buyer, a corporate buyer, to get your item into the stores. Persistence is good, but it's definitely there's a line, right? Where being respectful, knowing that the buyer's time is limited, and it's not being overly aggressive, which sometimes people do because they get overly passionate. So there is that balance,
Yeah.
which I've learned over the years on hopefully how to do that and strike that balance. So thank you for pointing that out about me, and that makes me feel really good, like I'm doing it the right way. So I got
Yeah.
I just went to Whole Foods, uh, so
Awesome.
and it was not whole paycheck. I'll tell you, there's actually these are really well priced.
Yay!
So there you
I'm
go.
so glad to hear people aren't saying that anymore. I'm
Uh,
so over it.
yeah,
It's not hope.
I don't know when the last time is I've even heard that. Like maybe
Yeah.
like 5 years ago, I'd hear someone like at the register, oh my, whole paycheck. I haven't heard that at all for like five
I'm glad to
years.
hear it.
So yeah, and I'm in Whole
Awesome.
Foods a lot. I go there every other
Yeah.
day. I walk to the Redondo Beach one. It
Cool.
used to be a Mrs. Gooch's, I think, the Redondo one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Whole
So
Foods
it's
acquired Mrs. Gooch's. I don't remember the year, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like a small footprint store, but I love it. It's in my local little neighborhood, market, and I know where everything is. And I start when I go to other Whole Foods that I don't know, I'm like, oh my God, where's this? Where's that? And I have to walk around. Redondo, no guesswork. I know where everything, I know where the mushrooms are, I know where the peanut butter is, all that. All right, so here's some
So in
items.
case you need a second job, we could hire you as an Amazon shopper.
Exactly. I'm in there so much, I might as well make money
Yep.
off it, right? Monetize it. So I went to I call it the El Segundo Whole Foods. People call it PCH Whole Foods. I don't call it PCH Whole Foods because it confuses me with the Torrance Whole Foods, which is on PCH. So
Okay.
here's some items that you brought in or that you've overseen that are my favorite brands. You got Dream
Yeah.
Pops, David. You
David,
got
yep.
you got trying to make this. Come on, man. The pouches, they got to stand up. There we go. And then we have the Better Booch. We had Jordan Schulman
Yep.
on the show. I'm sure he
Yeah, I
contacts
saw
you.
that episode.
Yep.
Hmm.
And we have
Can
Bright
I just
Bar.
say, can I just tell you a couple really fun stories? And this is for all the
Sure.
entrepreneurs. So I love that you picked those. There is no, all those three products that you just picked. We did not, just so everyone listening, we did not collaborate on this. All three of those brands. So I'm going to just go through them. Better Booch. Trey came to me, and obviously we have a lot of amazing kombuchas on shelf, and he was kind of like, let's try, let's try, let's try. And I was like, okay, I love you guys. I like the product, but there needs to be something different. And we kind of went back and forth, and he mentioned cans. And at the time we were doing everything in bottles, I think. And I said, ooh, a can organic kombucha. And we were like looking at price points. And so um, I want to say, Trey, correct me if I'm wrong, they leaned in to our idea, to the idea of doing cans, like taking the line into cans. And maybe we were the first retailer to do it. I think we were probably the first retailer to have it for a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Yeah.
And I heard that they recently went out of glass, which is really great. So that is a perfect example of a brand being open to feedback. We had a lot of kombucha in the space in glass. Everyone was kind of doing the same thing. A way to drive price was maybe packaging to drive price down. So Trey and team really leaned into that. And I love them. I love their product, and they're going amazing places. I'm really proud of their work. Dream Pops, David, we just launched at our Huntington Beach store.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, their nibs, their
Oh,
little, I
those are so
think,
freaking good. I love
I
those.
know,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It just goes to show you you can, have your cake and eat it too. It's delicious and good for
Mm-hmm.
you. And then Bright Bar, those guys are some of my favorites. I love their product. They really collaborated with my feedback on some innovation and pivoted the brand. They were a veggie and fruit sort of forward brand, and then they pivoted into nut butters, and it's been amazing. So perfect brands to pick.
Totally. Yeah. I walked in. I was like, I wanted to make sure I wasn't late to the studio, but I was like, I gotta go to Whole Foods first and get some brands that I know Monica takes pride in actually and overseeing and bringing it in. And man, like these are some great products. So the Bright Bar, I gotta echo you on that. The almond butter one is my favorite. I have this almost every day
Mhm.
as a on-the-go protein snack. Brendan is
So good.
he's loving it right now. I'm going to tag him on LinkedIn. He's going to be like, "This is the
I
best
mean, it's
promotion
half the
ever."
sugar.
I
Yeah, it's
know
half the sugar of any like other like brand, right? And
exactly.
it's so good. So
Yeah,
good.
it's dietary fiber 8 grams. Sugar is 9 grams, under 10 grams. Yeah, 50% less
Hmm.
sugar, dairy and egg free. It tastes really good too. The other one that I
Yeah.
got is it's a small bottle, but you know what it is. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm good friends with
Yep.
JR, and yeah, you love Vive, so it's really a great brand. Yeah,
Yeah, and again, it's I feel selfish saying this, but I learned so much from these entrepreneurs. Like I take nuggets from everything that we go through together as partners and sort of try and apply that to any future brands or new people coming on board. It helps their growing pains, I guess, and just their growth across the board, whether it's pivoting out of products or changing packaging or co-packers. Those learnings really impact the larger community of natural food because I feel like a little selfish because I get to take nuggets of it and share it with other people. But yeah, it's hard to say that I have a favorite brand. Someone's asked me that numerous times, and there's no, can't. There's
yeah,
so many amazing founders and amazing products that are coming out of our region.
totally. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a fun thing to do when you get to see new stories, new brands every day, and there's so much innovation in LA. So yeah, so you've been doing. I mean, I got to say it again, just an amazing work on like working with local brands, seeing them from when they were just starting, getting their story, and then eventually fostering them and getting them into Whole Foods, and then becoming successful. And that was a story that we had, right? We started very small, humble beginnings, and now we're becoming more of a national brand. But it all started locally here with Whole Foods. So thank you again, Monika, for all your support. We're going to go into rapid fire questions. This is the
Uh-oh.
program. Let's do it.
Okay.
Rapid fire questions. Is the branding getting ridiculous when we have the head flying in?
No, I really just I want to be a part of your rap song kind of intro. It is so amazing.
We got to do a part two or something, and bring in like guest rappers and stuff. And do you have like a
Like in the
do?
park, Whole Foods parking lot, like, you know,
Totally, totally. Like, yeah,
I wish I didn't do.
yeah. We got to come up with some. I'll come up with some lyrics for that. Like sitting in the parking lot, chilling by the Whole Foods, gonna go in for a pizza, or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right.
Oh,
So here we go. Rapid fire, 1 minute or less. Don't even think about it. Just whatever off the top of your head, you can answer it. No, question one: NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
First thing you do when you wake up.
Meditate.
Love it. Movie you can watch an unlimited amount of times.
Oh my God, you're gonna kill me. I like don't watch movies. You put me like on a couch and I sleep. I don't watch
Okay.
movies.
All right.
Ugh.
So no movie. Song you can listen to an unlimited amount of times.
Anything Fleetwood Mac.
Okay. Like
Anything.
like the TikTok video with the guy drinking it on the skateboard. Okay.
Yes.
Favorite national park.
Yosemite.
That's what our last guest said as well. What is your spirit animal?
Oh my gosh, it's a lion, a Leo, a lioness. Yes.
Exactly. Mine too. The lion, not the lioness. Window seat or aisle seat on a plane?
Window seat.
Wow, everyone's answered aisle until now. Window seat. Peanut butter or
I
almond?
like to be by kind of like looking out in the action. I love
Right.
that zoning out.
Totally. I'm the same way. Well, I'm too tall though. I got to be on the aisle. So peanut butter or almond butter?
Almond butter.
There you go. Like Bright Bar. All right. Cold
Hmm.
weather or hot weather?
Hot, hot, hot.
Southern Cal. Our last guest was from New York. She's like cold. All right. Cold brew or hot coffee?
Cold brew. If anyone knows me, that is like black cold brew is my jam. That's all I drink.
Awesome. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Oh, it's Chicago Jordan.
There you
Man,
go.
that's
Um,
my life.
That's it. Ginger or turmeric?
Ginger.
Favorite food or drink if you were stuck on a deserted island and you cannot say coconuts?
Food and drink or food or drink?
Favorite anything, favorite food, favorite drink. If one thing you had to pick on a deserted island, except for coconuts.
Okay. Shrimp and pork soup dumplings and a glass of champagne, preferably vintage.
Wow, that's more than one. Nice. We'll count it all
Yeah,
as
I know.
one meal. All
Yeah.
right. There's got to be a really good master chef on that island to make that happen. Or you can do it, right?
Me.
Yeah, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Monica, for being on our show. This is an honor and a privilege. Appreciate you taking your time at 7:30 at night to be on 15 Minutes of Genius. So thank you again for joining us, and take care and be safe.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
You too. All right. So that is episode 26 of 15 Minutes of Genius. The legend, Monika Coyle, the local purchasing coordinator for Whole Foods Market, Southern Pacific region. There's going to be a rap song coming out, I swear, about Whole Foods. She's motivated me to do it. Again, a big plug for Mark Nicholas, Mark at ManhattanBeachStudios.net for all your editing desires. This guy's amazing. I think he might have, met James Cameron at some point. Maybe. Just say yes. Makes you, more famous. It's LA. So thank you again. And one more thing. Stay genius, my friends. Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.